Can the Boston Celtics save their dynasty? After winning the 2024 NBA championship, it looked like the Celtics were a dynasty in the making, re-signing everybody and running it back, but then Jayson Tatum tears his Achilles, and the Celtics look a little old this year. So they've got to make a couple of moves. Trading Jrue Holiday would be number one. Sam Hauser's probably on the way out the door as well. A huge decision to make about Kristaps Porzingis, and then a couple of draft picks that you really need to hit on at pick 28 and pick 32. I know those are late in the first round, but this is a really deep draft class. So yeah, like we said, first things first, go out and trade Jrue Holiday. I know he's been a big part to this franchise for the last couple years, of course helping them bring home that championship, but look, your cap outlook is horrific. You are so far over the salary cap, so far over the first apron and even the second apron that you are going to be paying like $230 million in tax money. You have a few trade pieces like we talked about, but I mean, look, you're $40 million over the tax, and the estimated bill is $238 million. Ridiculous. Now, these are your three guys that are safe, 100%. They're going to be back next year. Sam Hauser, 4-year, $45 million deal, probably on the way out. He's probably the first one to go. Jrue Holiday, 3-year, $94 million deal. He's probably the second one to go. Those are pretty much guaranteed to be gone. And then the decision with Tingus Pingus, who's on an expiring 1-year, $30 million deal. Like we said, Jaylen Brown is here to stay. It feels like if I was the Celtics, there's no way I'm trading him and breaking up Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This is a duo that brought you a championship, but he is on a 5-year, $315 million deal, and so is Jayson Tatum. So if you don't think those two can coexist on the books and have two $315 million contracts on there, it's understandable, I guess. Brown's coming off a season where he averaged 23 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 4.5 assists per game, while shooting 46% from the field and 32% from three on 6.4 attempts per game. And he was not great in the playoffs this year, especially versus the Knicks, where he only averaged 21.3 points a game, 6.7 rebounds, 5.2 assists, and 0.8 steals. Despite being the number one option for a full 2 games, he shot 40% from the field and 29% from three on 6 attempts. That's not what you need in the playoffs out of a guy that's making $315 million. However, it was very obvious that he was injured. The reports came out later, and really they were all throughout the playoffs. You could tell, like, he was limping at the end of the regular season, but this is the 2024 Finals MVP, and he deserves some respect for that, so I think he's definitely staying in Boston for a while. Now, Jrue Holiday, like we said, he's got a big-time deal, 3 years, $94 million. He's probably on the way out the door. As we said, there are a list of teams that are interested in him, and we'll get to that later, but this year in the playoffs, he only put up 9.4 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. To be making that much money, you simply cannot underperform at that level, and that's what he did. He shot 49% from the field and only 31% from three on 5 attempts per game, and like I said, he looked kind of old. Maybe it was the Team USA stuff at the Olympics this summer, but he looked old this year, and you know he's going to be 35 next year, so he's definitely getting up there. In their run to the finals, he was locking up everybody. Brunson, the posts, it didn't matter. He was locking up guards, bigs, but with Jayson Tatum playing more point guard, he's transitioning to more of an off-the-ball role, and it's kind of shrinking his role in the offense. He's still a good defender, but offensively, he was the point guard during that run, so it's kind of taken at some of his production. Now, as for Porzingis, originally I was on the trade side of things, but I think now you should probably keep him. He's on a 1-year, $30 million deal. If you trade Jrue and Sam Hauser, you can get off the tax bill. And Porzingis, if you want to trade him, it's fair. He once again underperformed in the playoffs. He averaged 19.5 per game in the regular season, 7 rebounds, a block and a half in 29 minutes. He did that while shooting 48% from the field and shot 41% from three on 6.2 attempts, which is good, but he kind of underperformed when it came to playoff time once again. Well, kind of is an understatement. And if you did trade both Porzingis and Jrue Holiday, that's $63 million of salary going out. You'd be $30 million under the first apron. However, I think you keep Porzingis. He's on an expiring deal. You look to make a better contract with less guaranteed money in the future, and you try to re-sign him and keep him a part of your core as Tatum recovers. Now, Hauser, 4 years, $45 million. We talked about this. He's probably on the way out the door. This was an overpay. He was a valued player when he was paying for $2 million. Now when he's playing for $12, not so much anymore. In the playoffs, he averaged 3.5 points per game. He scored 28 total points in the playoffs and signed a contract for $45 million. That is ridiculous. That is a bad overpay. And if you get rid of just Jrue and Sam Hauser, like we said, you still get off $43 million and get under the luxury tax, get under that first apron, and you'll be just fine. Now, taking a look at some Jrue trades, because I feel like Sam Hauser's going to be dealt first, and then it's probably going to be Jrue Holiday, and maybe you look at Dallas and bring in PJ Washington. PJ Washington has been a guy that's been rumored to go to Boston. He's a good wing. He just played him in the finals a couple of years ago, and he's going to be 27 next season. He's a guy you can build with Tatum and Brown around. 14.7 points a game, 7.8 rebounds on 45% shooting from the field, 38% from 3 on 5 attempts for PJ last season. And the season before that, he was even a little bit better. He's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan, so he's a fantastic 3-and-D wing to have. I wish Charlotte would have never traded him, but, you know, it's my Hornets. We can't do anything right. And in the long run, you're looking at Tatum at point, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, PJ Washington, and Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, that is a championship starting five right there. He's got 2 years, $30 million left on his contract, so he is affordable. And first you would have to trade Sam Hauser, but then you could go Jrue Holiday for PJ Washington and a first. And I think that trade gets accepted. Another team to look out for is the Sacramento Kings, who are reportedly having interest in Jrue Holiday. And if you can hit up the Kings and be like, look, we'll give you Jrue Holiday, you give us Keegan Murray and maybe a first, then I feel like that's a trade they would take. Maybe not last season, but this season now, where he had a little bit of a down year, averaging 12.4 points per game, 6.7 rebounds, shot 44% from the field and 34% from 3 on 6 attempts. Maybe now that's a trade that Sacramento is more inclined to take, because for whatever reason they want Jrue Holiday. He's 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan and can come in. He's going to be 25 next year, like we just looked at. Last year he had a much better season, averaging 15.5 points, 6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and a steal, while shooting 45% from the field and 36% from 3 on 7 attempts. It was a good year for Keegan Murray that year, and then, you know, last year a little bit of down year, a lot of turbulence going on in Sacramento. He's got 1 year, $11 million left on his current contract, so we'll see what they can do with that when it comes to an extension. But he's definitely a guy like PJ Washington that you can play around this core and he can grow and develop with them, where Jrue is going to be 35, he's going to be 25. So that's a guy you can definitely have. You also need to develop your bench unit a little bit, and the young guys that you have, like Baylor Shireman, who in the last 16 games of the year averaged 6.5 points, almost 3 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and a steal. You take Baylor, and then you hit on one of these 2 draft picks this year, and you've got a couple of nice young players that you can grow while they're on their rookie contracts. Shot 41% from the field, 38% from 3 on 3 attempts per game. And like I said, you have picks 28 and 32 in this year's class, and while no, you're not going to get a Cooper Flag level player, obviously, you can still get a win now really good player like Nick Clifford. I think is a guy the Celtics should 100% try and go get. He's like the Big West version of, or Mountain West version, of Jayson Tatum. 6'6" and can do a little bit of everything. Averaged almost 20 and 10 on 38% shooting from 3. But in reality, if you get any of these guys, and I doubt Fleming falls that far, but if you get Neek or Cedric Howard, then automatic winners of the draft, because you can add that to Baylor Shireman, to Pritchard off the bench. Now you just need a long-term big option going forward, and bang, you're right back there. You saved the dynasty. With that being said, that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button. Leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point. Looking for about 300 likes on today's video, so if you could help us out, that'd be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.